Hey, what's up everybody, it's Axel, and today I'm going to be talking about 6 different dongles. I will be talking about their features, how they sound, what makes each one unique, and just share with you guys my overall experience using them. Now, they all come in at different price points, they come at different sizes and form factors, and some of them actually surprised me in a good way. So let's kick things off by starting with the most interesting, dongle, which is the Tanchjim Stargate II. This is the box of the Tanchjim Stargate II, and it's a compact, little DSP dongle that comes in at around a price of around $37, and the unboxing experience is about as simple as it gets. You get the dongle, you get the manual, and that's it. And frankly, you don't need anything else, actually. Once I held this one in my hand, I was actually a bit surprised. Let me first show you the build. You get a transparent cover here. You can see almost like a chip inside, and on the other side you can see the Stargate. This is the USB-C connector. You have something here for stress relief, and this is the jack itself. Once I held it, like I said, I was honestly surprised. It's super lightweight. Like, this thing is the smallest and lightest dongle, or one of the lightest dongles I've ever used. It feels like very light, even a little thin at times. And at first I was, I had my doubts, but honestly, after using this for a long time, throwing it in cases, plugging it and unplugging it, and just, your regular everyday use, I have to say this thing is way more durable than it looks. And until now, I had 0 cable issues, no random disconnects, it's just durable, reliable, feels actually pretty solid. I feel confident using this one. And visually, I feel it got this clean, light-colored look. The design makes it easy to spot when you plug it into a dark looking cable and stuff like that. Like, it feels actually kind of nice. For example, one thing I like about this type of design is that I connect it like this and I leave it connected to the IM. I store it like that in the IM case, which is actually pretty handy. Now, in terms of specs and features and stuff like that, the Stargate II uses the Cirrus Logic CS43131 DAC chip, which is a solid performer. It supports up to 32-bit, 384 PCM, and DSD 256. Now, what makes this dongle really stand out isn't just the sound, it's the features. And it has a few unique features that kind of separate it and make it stand out from the rest. First up, we have support for inline microphones and inline controls. So we've got an IM cable that has a mic. You can use it. If you have even a gaming headset style mic setup, you can use it. This dongle lets you use that mic. And this is actually very nice because, you can use that if you're on your phone or if you're on your PC or using it with like Nintendo Switch, for example. Having a microphone just makes it really nice to use, like, for phone calls or for gaming. It's a nice feature. It also supports volume control and media buttons if your IM has a cable that has these buttons. And this is actually a very nice feature. I feel it's a super underrated feature. The best part here and the real magic of this dongle is the Tanchjim app support. Now, you can download it from their official website. It's available on Android. There is an iOS version too. I haven't tested it myself, so I can't, comment on it. I will say, though, for the Android version, I'm going to be posting some screenshots. Inside the app, you get a lot of things, actually. You get some presets like vocal enhancement, instrument popular nature, and the default restore mode. I usually leave it at the default mode. Like, the other ones are not really my preference, but you can try them. It's good to know that you have some presets. You also get a nice feature, which is gaming EQ for popular titles. And these are games there's a section for like smartphone games, there's a section for PC games, and even there's a section for Nintendo Switch games. And it includes a lot of popular titles, for example, like Apex Legends, PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, all these popular games. And there is an EQ community forum where you can upload some custom EQ profiles for some Tanchjim IMs, like the Origin, the Tanchjim 1 and 4U. Now, even if you're not using one of those IMs, you can still browse the community presets. Like, you will find people there uploaded some profiles, that kind of mimic things like the Blessing 3 tuning, or there's people upload profiles like for Harman 2013, Harman 2019 curves, and so on. What is really impressive now, it's the custom 8-band parametric EQ. You get 8-band parametric EQ complete with visual feedback for the frequency response, and you can adjust the gain, the Q factor, and you can adjust you know, choose the specific frequency you want to adjust. And actually you can see the curve change in real time to show you what's happening. It's not measuring your IM's actual frequency response or anything. It's just, you know, showing you, allowing you like to visualize the EQ tweaks that you're doing. And I find that that is actually super helpful, especially if you're like, you know, adjust like a few frequency bands and you want to know what's going on. You want to have like a quick look to just know what you did. Don't forget also to lower the pre-gain after you finish your EQing. Before clicking apply, you will find the central bar where you can actually lower that pre-gain. And you actually, if you look at the frequency response, you will see a dotted orange and red lines that function as very nice indicators. I love this feature. You can apply the EQ for your favorite IM. And as I said, like keep it connected to the 3.5 cable, you know, and save it, and you basically have your EQ with you on the go. That is actually nice. So let's talk about the most important feature. Actually, how does this thing sound? You know, who cares if it has EQ if it doesn't sound good? For me, I'll describe the sound like that, guys. It's actually sound very clean, very neutral, linear, uncolored, and very detailed. And that is what I like, man. I like to color my IMs using EQ if I need to do that. The bass here has solid impact and slam, especially for a single-ended dongle this size. Highs are very smooth, not sharp or fatiguing, and the separation and imaging are actually a standout. I was actually impressed with the imaging on some of my IMs that have good, you know, precise imaging, and the directional cues felt precise and locked in. So this also makes it kind of nice if you like, you know, super precise imaging, or you like to use imaging for gaming. I think you will be really happy with this dongle. There's also zero hiss or background noise with any of my sensitive IMs, just a black background, which helps highlight those micro details and nuances. Also, like, I didn't find any static noise when using it, and there is no popping noise when inserting or, you know, removing IMs, which is also super awesome. Let's talk power. This thing pushes 82 milliwatts at 16 ohms and around 75 milliwatts at 32 ohms, which is good for most IMs. Actually, that's a good amount of power, you know, enough for most IMs, unless you are you know, wanting to drive like something power hungry like the binary Dyna Quattro, or you need like full-sized headphones that, you know, need a lot of power. You will probably, at that, you know, stage, you'll probably need a more powerful dongle. To give you some reference here, I was using, you know, my Alpha Performance 7 with my phone connected to the Stargate 2. My phone has 15 volume steps. I was listening actually using the Performance 7, which I have right here. I was listening to it. I was using it at volume level 10 or 11, you know, and the last few volume steps really increased the volume, so there is still a bit of headroom if you want to use EQ. I don't think this is the best thing to use if you want to drive headphones. For IMs, great. And something I noticed is that the USB connector here, I just want to give you guys a heads up, does get a little warm during extended use. Not hot, but just warm enough to notice. All right, let's move on to the second dongle on our list. I will leave this one here. And this is, let me show you the box. This is the Softears S01. This is the box of the Softears S01. And this dongle comes in at a price of around $25. So I think this is a nice dongle. I think it's a solid upgrade over the classic Apple dongle. It gives you better sound, it gives you better build, and it just feels more premium and durable. Like the braiding here feels thicker. It feels, you know, more durable. The DAC chip used here is the Cirrus Logic CS46L41. I couldn't find any official power output numbers, so I will tell you my experience with it. I was listening using my Alpha Performance 7 at just around 10 to 12 volume steps out of 15 on my phone, and it had enough powers for most IMs I was using. It's just not the dongle to get if you want a lot of power, you know, for headphones, or you want a lot of headroom for your IMs, you know. Like, I felt I had just, you know, 2 to 3 more volume steps and I would max out the volume. That said, at max it was really loud, and even at, you know, 13 to 14 it was really loud, but still I felt, you know, if you want to use EQ and you want a lot of headroom, maybe you want something a bit more powerful. Again, I'm just sharing my experience using it. I don't know the exact output power. I'm just guessing based on my usage. Now, what I like about this one is that the S01 actually had a very similar weight to the Tanchjim Stargate II. So it's lightweight, you know, it has like 4.3 grams, I think. And what really stood out to me is the build. It's really tough, man, like really tough. If you look here at the USB-C connector, and I will show you guys like this. For example, this is the FiiO KA11 and this is the Stargate. The USB-C connector of the S01, like, let me show you guys, it's really solid. Like, I will show you like this. It's really big and beefy, you know what I mean? Like, check this out. It's really strong. And here's the comparison with the Stargate. Not a big of a difference, but you can still see that it's a bit beefier looking, right? You can see that here. And even the end here, right here at the end, it feels, you know, it looks and feels very sturdy, like strong, and you get this stress relief here, and it feels beefy and strong, you know. Chunky and, you know, but still lightweight, you know, and the braided cable doesn't twist, it doesn't feel flimsy, like it feels like it's going to last forever, like give me that peace of mind feeling, you know what I mean? Another thing I like about it is that it stays cool during long listening sessions. I never had any heating issues with this. It doesn't get warm even, and even better, it's dead silent with sensitive IMs, no hiss, no noise at, you know, at high volume, just clean audio. In terms of sound, I will describe this one as quite neutral and linear. It's also clean and uncolored, and that allows me to hear the sound of my IMs. It performs really well, but compared to something like the Stargate, I did notice that it's slightly less detailed, slightly less separated. Stage and imaging are slightly less, but keep in mind that this one cost $25. Another thing I want to mention here is just a few limitations of the S01. Is it doesn't have published power output. We don't know exactly what is the power output. It doesn't support DSD. If this is something you want to use, if you listen to DSD music, this is not the dongle to get for that. It doesn't have mic support if you need that, you know. I find like specific dongles support that, like Stargate II. It doesn't have any app or software features, and it has no switchable filters. With that said, I still recommend it and highly recommend it, because at this price point, $25, you know, it's expected. It's durable, it sounds clean and neutral, it's super convenient, you know. At this price, it's just hard to complain. It's the kind of dongle, it's like, as I said, it's upgraded Apple dongle sound, in my opinion. And this is the kind of dongle, like I said, like you connect it to your, you know, IMs like that, and just, you know, attach it, leave it attached to the IM cable and just forget about it. So overall, this is also another nice one, and I'm going to leave it right here. Now let me talk about one of my personal favorite sounding dongles at this price point, if not even my favorite, which is the FiiO KA11. I know I talked about that a lot, you know, before, because I really like this one. It's not perfect, but man, the sound quality is amazing. This one comes in at a price of around $29.99. You're getting a Cirrus Logic 43131 DAC and some insane power output. You're getting 245 milliwatts at 16 ohms and 200 milliwatts at 32 ohms. That's a lot of power for any dongle. Okay, especially a single-ended dongle, and not even to mention this form factor. Like, I have full-size dongles that have less than that from the balanced output. You know, this thing is really powerful, and it's got great sound and dynamics. Sound-wise, it's easily the most detailed in this lineup. Amazing separation, like great dynamics, really strong sense of stage and imaging, and even the layering, especially at this price. Like, I'm listening to my Performance 7, at just 7 out of 15 volume steps, and it already sounds very dynamic, very rich, very detailed, and full and punchy. The bass slams with this one. It's got good texture and good punch. The transients are very well defined, and the highs are very crisp and detailed. And again, no hiss, you know, no weird popping noises when I plug it or unplug it, no static noise. All these have that qualities, by the way. And this one has also, like the others, ultra low output impedance. It's a bit bigger than the others, okay, and it's not quite as portable as these. You know, if you compare them, it's a bit beefier, it's a bit bigger. That said, the build, man, is a beast. You get this solid metal shell. The cable is but it's thick, you know. The 3.5 millimeter port here, like, feels like it could survive anything you could throw at it. And on top of that, you get an indicator light right here, and you get app support. The app allows you, like, to change the filters and, like, turn off the lights, because this one has a light. If you're annoyed by that, you can turn it off, and it allows you even to use UAC 1.0 mode. So this one supports UAC 1.0 mode, which is another nice feature. Allows you to use it with gaming consoles or older devices and stuff like that. Super handy. That said, as much as I love this thing, it's not perfect, and let me tell you some of the things that could be, you know, limitations for you. Number one, it's only 3.5 millimeter. So if you have like 4.4 and you want to use it, this is not the dongle for that. Number two, I noticed it gets a bit warm after a while, and it's not hot or anything, but, you know, it's slightly warm after a while of using it. But this isn't exactly something I would use, like, you know, while on the couch or sleeping. Like, don't put, like, things on it. That's what I want to say. Don't put, like, a pillow on it or anything like that. After that, you will notice it starts to get too warm if you keep it covered like that. Keep it not covered with anything. Another thing is it doesn't have mic support. If this is important for you, you need a dongle that has mic support. And another thing is this one doesn't have EQ settings. You just get the basic filter options. I will say my opinion like that, man. If you want pure sound quality and you want raw power, maybe you want to drive some headphones and you just are happy with the single-ended output, you don't want 4.4, you don't care about mics or EQ, this one gets my highest recommendation. Alright, the fourth dongle on my list today is the Celeste CD2. This is the Celeste CD2. Alright, it's actually very durable. This thing, guys, is kind of wild. Now we're starting to move from the 3.5mm dongles, staying at a similar price point, but we're starting to get 4.4mm output. This thing costs only around $24, and it uses what's called like CX31993 DAC chip. Nothing fancy on paper, but man, this thing punches way above its price. Like I said, what I like about this one is a few things actually. Number one is that at this budget price, you're getting a 4.4mm output. That's usually something reserved for slightly more expensive dongles than this one. You definitely only find it in very few dongles at this price point. And another thing is the build. This build is awesome. It feels durable. It feels very solid, man. It has some weight and heft to it, right? It feels it's going to last a long time. And another thing is where it gets even better is the power output, man. It has, like, on paper it does like 160 milliwatts at 16 ohms and 60 milliwatt at 32 ohms. That's impressive for $24 or $25. This thing is a beast. To give you some perspective, I was listening with my Awful Performance 7 using the single-ended. I was listening at 9 to 10 out of 15 volume steps. That's awesome. Build-wise, like I said, this thing has a very solid build. It's built like a Tang. It's got a solid zinc alloy shell, like feels like one piece, you know what I mean? Like it's built like a Tang. Slightly heavy, feels premium. Super compact too. You can throw it into your IM case and forget about it even there, and no dangling cables to worry about, so potentially it kind of feels more durable in that way. And another thing I like about this one is that it stays very cool. Like it doesn't even get slightly warm no matter how long you use it, and that's a win, for portable use. It's really nice. The only thing I want to mention here is this. If you connect this, you find here the 3.5 is down below, right? But if you want to use the 4.4, you have to use it from the side. If you use it, what I do recommend is I recommend you remove it from your phone first, before you connect or disconnect the 4.4, just to avoid putting any stress on the USB-C connector of your phone. And another thing I want to mention here is, in my opinion, avoid using 3.5 and 4.4 at the same time. That's a no-go. How does it sound with all of that? I will say it sounds surprisingly great. It's mostly neutral, just with a hint of brightness in the treble. Like the treble here sounds like crispy. It has that crispy highs. In my opinion, it's not as quite refined as something like the KA11 or the Stargate II. But the difference is not huge, and at $25, man, this thing is a steal, honestly. You don't get like extra features like onboard controls or like, fancy indicators, but for the price, I feel this one is super, super easy to recommend. All right, another dongle that I want to touch on quickly is this one. This is the Kiwi Ears Allegro Mini. This one also comes at $24. And again, like the Celeste CD2, we're getting into that, entry level or budget prices, and we're starting to get 4.4. I like that. I like that a lot, because previously I used to recommend the Moondrop Dawn Pro, and I still recommend it for the sound, and just the build and the quality and even the features. This is the Allegro Mini, so I don't know exactly the DAC chip inside of this one, but I can tell you it does a solid job and it sounds great. Power output here is 30 milliwatts at 32 ohms, so it's not as strong as the CD2, but it's totally, fine for most IMs. And yes, it has a 4.4 balanced output, which is awesome at this price point. Just a quick heads up, like the CD2, be careful when you plug in IMs into this style of connector. I usually suggest that or recommend that you remove the dongle first before you insert, or remove, plug or unplug your IMs at either side, because the connectors here are side mounted, so if you want to avoid, putting stress on your USB-C connector, then just take it out first, remove your IM or insert your IM, and then put it back again. Sound wise, this one needs neutral warm. Like, it has a smooth tonality, good amount of detail. It also supports DSD up to 128, which is a nice touch at this price point, and it has a light weight feeling to it. And the biggest strength is the design. This form factor is something that a lot of people are going to like for the portability, the weight, and the price, of course. Between those two, the CD2 and the Allegro Mini, I feel I'm leaning more towards the CD2 just because of the build quality, the extra power, and the detailed sound. But the Allegro Mini is still worth mentioning for two reasons. Number one, I feel still very competitive and it sounds really good. It's lighter in weight if this is something you're interested in. And at this price, yes, I still feel it is competitive. At $25, that is amazing, Another thing is that you can get this even for less during discounts and in bundles. Like, for example, at the time of this video, there is the Kiwi Ears KA4, which costs right now, at the time of this video, I saw it costs $199, right? There is a bundle deal that includes this for, with the KA4, you'll get them for $209, meaning you're basically getting the dongle for around $10. At that price, man, it's a no-brainer. That's a steal. At $25, in my opinion, I still recommend it, and I think it's competitive. It sounds great. It's got that neutral, smooth sound. It has a good tonality. It's had good amount of detail, and you get 4.4 with it at this price point. And the form factor is great and portable. So this one is also recommended. Now, let's move on to something bigger. Okay, this is the Celeste CD20. This is the CD2, and this is the CD20. Man, this one now is a larger dongle. As you can see, it's priced around $89, and it's using the ESS 9039 Q2M DAC chip. This is one you'll find in desktop DACs like the Topping D53 and the SMSL Raw MDA1 DAC. So it's serious stuff here. Power output, man, is insane. It's really not joking here. This thing right here gives you 250 milliwatts at 32 ohms for single-ended, and 480 milliwatts from the 4.4 balance, man. Even the single-ended output is super powerful. It outputs 2 VRMS from the single-ended, 4 VRMS from balance, enough to run a lot of full-sized headphones without an issue. This dongle also has a gain switch. If you press here and hold it for 2 seconds, which is great, so that you can manage all that power. It also supports UAC 1.0, so you can use it with older devices or gaming consoles and stuff like that. It's got this metal build all around. It doesn't feel heavy or anything. This is a play pause button, by the way, and these are the volume adjustment buttons. You get the USB-C here and your outputs right here. It looks nice. It feels nice. How it sounds? This one sounds clean. It's neutral with a slight sense of brightness. It's detailed. It's got good imaging, good separation. But to my ears, man, it feels a bit colored, right? I still prefer the tonality of something like the Stargate and the KA11 a bit more, as they feel a bit more neutral to my ears. But man, they cannot match the raw power of the CD20. It's really, really strong. The cable here is also very nice and very durable, but this thing is not perfect, and I want to mention something when using it. There is some faint background hiss if you're using this on high gain, high volume, and using the 4.4. This is something I noticed. And also another thing is, at this price point, it comes around $89. It also doesn't have any display. It doesn't have indicator lights, and it can get slightly warm during extended use. But again, for this level of power, it's an option to consider if you want lots of power, especially if you want lots of power from the single-ended and the balanced. That's a lot of power for the single-ended and the balanced. Moving on to the last one I have today, which is the Soncie Mayori SA500. This one is also a big surprise, man. This one is cheaper. This one comes in at around $72. It has a balanced differential, fully balanced differential DAC setup. It actually has 2 DAC chips inside, but I'm not sure which ones because they don't say that. You know, there's no information. It comes with USB-C to Type-C cable, like this one that you see right here. It's a ribbon style cable. It also includes another one that you can see right here. Another one, same USB-C to Type-C, you know, an extra cable, and it has a USB-C to Type-A connector. This thing got a, let me remove these a bit here. This thing got a metal build, and it looks really white. And man, this thing always feels like cool to the touch. I don't know why. It's got your tactile buttons here. It's got USB-C. There's an indicator light, and there you go. And this is your output. It looks really nice. Balanced output power is a crazy 510 milliwatt. And for the single-ended, it gives you 125 milliwatts. Definitely more powerful from the balanced side, although the single-ended output is still powerful. This is something that you'll find like something like the CD20 does a bit more when it comes to the single-ended output. It's almost double what you get here, but balanced one, this one has slightly more. One cool feature here you get is that it's got 50 volume steps, you know, for volume control, and it's got a heatsink built in. So this thing literally never felt warm with me. I've used it for a long time. The extended usage, it never even gets warm. And like I said, you got a helpful indicator light right here. Sound-wise, this one sounds neutral with a hint of warmth. It's very easy on the ears. The highs are detailed but not fatiguing. Highs are actually very smooth. It's got very smooth, rich mids. You know, it has that slightly warm mid-range, you know, that has that richness and fullness, and I like that. It's not the most detailed dongle in this price point, or at like under $100, but it's still very detailed and it's very enjoyable. If you read the information about this dongle, you will find that the brand says like it has a tube-like sound and stuff like that. I wouldn't describe it like that. I wouldn't go that far, you know. It's a bit warm, sure, but I wouldn't say it sounds like a tube amp. It just has a touch of warmth and a smoothness in the highs, but it's still very clear. It's still very detailed and controlled, and man, I love it. For $72, this is a solid dongle with excellent power, smooth sound, and a great build. That's it, guys. That's today for our dongle review and comparison. I hope you find this video helpful, and let me know in the comments like which one of these stood out to you the most, and have you tried any of these? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.